Masculine and feminine energy. Let's talk a little bit about that. This is a very hot topic right now. I know I have talked a lot about it. I've been teaching a lot about it probably for the last year or so. For the last 2 years, I've been studying it and learning more about it. And it has changed my life. Like, I am so grateful that I know what I know because it has helped me to understand myself. It has helped me to understand my relationship, and it's helped me to almost reform or reframe or really hone in on what it is that I want as I am looking for a partner or as I'm looking for friendships. Like, what are the healthy dynamics that I want to invite into my life? And a lot of that I have discovered through this masculine and feminine energy. And so I want to talk to you about that today. I want to talk about, like, what is it and what is healthy, what is unhealthy, and how do we see that show up in ourselves. The last couple of weeks, I've really been digging deeper into the masculine feminine within one's own self versus what does it look like in a relationship? What does it look like in friendships? What does it look like when you're out and about with people in general? Like, I want to know, what does it look like within me? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So first off, let's talk about what is masculine and feminine energy. It is a human energy, meaning that it is not given to us, or we do not operate out of it based on our gender, based on what sex we are when we were born. So what does this mean? With masculine energy, these are the qualities of masculine energy. And there's so many. Anytime you look, you're going to come up with a different version of basically the same thing. But think of masculine energy more as the doing energy. More as the energy that is like outward focused. So these are going to be things like protective. The masculine energy is very protective of the things that it sees valuable, that it loves. It's decisive. It's able to make a decision, and then it's able to act on that decision. It's able to really move forward with the things that it wants to do. It's very stable. It's not one of those, it's not wishy-washy. Like, once it's made a decision, it's going to stick with that decision. Confident, responsible, very purpose-driven, very goal-oriented. The masculine energy really does well with going from point A to point B to point C. It will get things in motion. It will get things done. It thinks of a goal, and then it is going to do what it needs to do to get to that goal. Very action-based. Boundaries are a really big part of the masculine energy. The masculine energy, again, it's protective. And so you think of it as, boundaries are protective. Boundaries are like fences or like gates coming into, or even you think of your front door to your house. The boundary is there, and then you get to decide who comes in, who do you allow into your space. So that's what a boundary is. Logical, the masculine brain, the masculine energy is very logical. It is not, it doesn't operate on emotion. It operates on logic. Like, what makes sense? What is going to work here? It doesn't really go in and think about, like, how does it feel? Very logical. And then also courageous. Masculine energy, it goes again with like protecting. If you have a desire to protect something, you also have to have the courage to back that up, to actually do the things that it's going to take to be protective, because sometimes that will put you in danger. That's a masculine trait. So I want you to think about yourself. What are your favorite masculine traits about yourself? Because again, it's a human energy. It is not just given to the men. Moms, women can operate in masculine energy. So I like to think sometimes, like, what are my favorite masculine qualities about myself that I use to be able to operate in my life? I love the fact that I am protective of my children. I protect what matters to me, whether that is making sure that they get the things, the resources that they need from school, making sure that they are not put in dangerous situations, making sure that they are treated and respected in the way that they should be. Also with boundaries, I'm getting very good at creating and setting up and holding boundaries that keep me and my children safe. Like, what are some of the qualities that you like about yourself that is masculine? So that is the masculine energy, and we all operate in it. We have to. I mean, you think about it, you have to be able to be, protect what is yours. You have to be able to be decisive. You have to be able to have structure. You have to be able to work towards a goal. Those are just basic human qualities that are defined by the masculine energy. We have to have it to be able to function. Okay, now let's look at the feminine energy. The feminine energy, men absolutely can operate in feminine energy, and obviously women absolutely can operate in feminine energy. We have to. We have to have both of these energies together. And I will talk about that in a little bit as to why do we have to work together? Why do both of these energies need to be in play with each other? So some healthy feminine traits. They are it's intuitive. I think one of, maybe not the most important, but one that is definitely heralded as very feminine is the ability to be intuitive. Very connected with your emotions and what feels right. Being able to have a knowing of something even though there's no actual proof yet. And we've all done this. Think about times when you've walked into a room and immediately you're like, something's off. What just happened? Maybe you walked in after an argument ended, but you can still feel that there's something off in the air. There's no evidence, there's no proof. You have an intuitive feeling that something is wrong. Or you can do that with your child or a spouse or a friend, and you're just like, I don't know what it is, but I started thinking about this person and I just feel like something's wrong. I need to reach out to them. We've all done that. We've all experienced that. The feminine is very compassionate, very receptive, being able to receive help, receive compliments, receive love and gifts and affection. That's a very feminine quality. Creativity. Feminine energy is extremely creative. It's able to create ideas. It's able to create life. It's able to create like a feeling. Have you guys ever, come home to an empty house and it just feels, ugh. But then you come home and there's people in the house and it feels like life. That's the feminine energy radiating from the people in the home. It just gives life to the house. Feminine energy is very trusting. Being able to get that feeling or get that intuition and then trust it. Or feminine energy is also really good at trusting other people. Your intuition is going to speak to you. Is this person trustworthy? Do I feel good around them? And then being able to follow through with that. Yes, I trust them. I trust what they say. I trust what they tell me. Feminine energy is the ability to be very present in the moment. Masculine energy is very goal-oriented. So a lot of times they're thinking in the future. Like, okay, what do I need to do to get from here to there so that I can get to here? The feminine energy is able to be very present in the moment, playing with your kids, enjoying a movie, just enjoying the moment with the people that you love. Nurturing. Feminine energy is incredibly nurturing. When a child gets hurt, having the ability to love and comfort that child. Nurturing, empathetic, compassionate, those are all kind of the same idea, same types of things. And then self-honoring. Feminine energy is very connected to itself. It knows that it is important, that it should make itself a priority. And so that is, just being really connected to yourself, being connected to the body. Feminine energy is very body connected. Like, where am I feeling my emotions in my body? And again, you can look at yourself. What are some of my greatest feminine traits? Like what is something that I'm really good at in my feminine energy? Is that nurturing? Is that being able to be really empathetic to those around you? I know that's one of mine, that I'm able to be very compassionate and empathetic towards my children or towards friends if they are going through something that's hard for them. Just being able to really be in the moment with them. I am a crier if someone else is crying. Like if somebody else is having a hard time, I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a hard time right there with them. Because that is just part of my feminine energy. It wants to be very empathetic and compassionate and help to help them feel loved and know that there is somebody there with them. Another thing is receptive. I am getting really good at this. I've practiced it because it can feel uncomfortable to be on the receiving end of things, but being able to receive things like a compliment. Sometimes, people give you a compliment and it's like, oh gosh, this old thing, or oh, those shoes, I got them from the thrift store, or whatever it is. You don't need to comment on why you shouldn't be complimented, or oh, whatever. Don't brush it off. Receive it. Be able to receive that compliment of thank you. That makes me feel really good. Thank you so much. That's feminine energy. All right. Now what I want you guys to do is I want you to think of yourself, and I want you to think of those feminine energies and the masculine energies, those qualities that you have, and put them together. It is really good to be goal-oriented. It is really good to have a goal and to want to work towards it. What's not good is if that becomes an obsessive trait and all you do is stress and focus and think about that goal. Because what happens if all you're doing is looking to the future, when you achieve that goal, it's not going to be enough. You're going to need to keep going. The reason is because you're operating only in that masculine energy and you're not bringing in the feminine energy of being able to be present. Like you can have a goal in mind, but you can also enjoy the journey towards the goal. That's the masculine energy, having that goal. And then the feminine energy is going to help you to enjoy the journey, enjoy the moments as you're working towards that goal. And what that does is that once you reach that goal, you're able to bask in the joy of reaching that goal. You're excited. You feel super pumped up, like this is wonderful. You're present with it. You enjoy all of the emotions and the excitement that comes from accomplishing that goal. And then you can move forward to a new goal with excitement. If you are not operating in harmony with your feminine energy as you're working towards that goal, then you find no enjoyment in actually reaching the goal because there is no enjoyment in the process of reaching the goal. You're just always looking to the next best thing. And actually what I have found is that if you are not in harmony with your masculine and your feminine energy, that masculine energy will end up turning to wounded masculine energy. It is no longer healthy masculine. I believe, and the studies that I have done and the research that I have done, it looks, and I believe that the only time that you are in healthy feminine or healthy masculine energy is when they are in harmony with each other. If you go too much into the feminine energy and you like tip the scales and you're no longer balanced, that is not healthy feminine anymore. It actually turns to wounded feminine. And it's the exact same for the masculine. If you tip the scales and you remove the life, or you remove the feminine out of the masculine, it turns into wounded masculine. So let's look at those different concepts, okay? Okay, so the masculine energy, let's look at that one first. Wounded masculine energy can kind of take on almost two extremes. So you'll have one side, wounded masculine, that is going to be extremely rigid. It's going to have no compassion. It's going to have no presence. It's going to be incredibly focused on this is where we need to go, and it doesn't matter what we need to do to get there, who we need to hurt to get there. That is where we need to be. So it's very rigid, very stubborn, very controlling. very forceful, very domineering. You can see how you can take something like discipline and decisiveness. Those are healthy masculine energies. And if you tip the scale, they can get real scary real fast. Instead of being protective, it's controlling. Instead of being decisive, it's stubborn and it's immovable. The other side of wounded masculine is more of the passive masculine, where like you with protective, instead of being protective, you're a coward. Instead of being courageous, you're a coward. Instead of protecting what you should, you hide or you let somebody else take the fall for you. That's the other side of wounded masculine energy. Either you take it to the extreme and you're too aggressive, you're too controlling, or you take it to the other extreme and you're too passive, you're a coward, you're unable to stand up for yourself, you throw other people under the bus, you're not able to really follow through with what you said you're going to. That is a wounded masculine. Now let's look at the wounded feminine. And she will do the same thing. There's going to be two extremes. So we'll have the one extreme where she is manipulative. Oh, sorry, my dog's barking. She'll be manipulative. She'll be sneaky. She'll be conniving. She'll like go behind people's back to be able to make sure she gets what she wants. It's her form of control. Instead of being like really domineering, and I shouldn't say she, because again, this is a human trait. All people do this. Instead of being really domineering, like the masculine, it would be more of the secretive, more manipulative. And then on the other side of this would be being extremely emotional, just up and down and all over the place. She has no way to hold her emotions. She's all over the place. She's very self-sacrificing instead of understanding that she needs to self-honor. She needs to honor herself. She gives so much of herself to somebody else in order to receive validation. Like, she doesn't see her self-worth. Again, I shouldn't say she, sorry. The feminine doesn't see their own self-worth. And so what they'll do is they will give more of themselves. They'll become extreme people pleasers in order to get what they feel like they need. Now, the important thing to understand here is that when you shift out of healthy masculine, healthy feminine, it comes from a place of hurt, from a place of trauma, from a place of triggers, from a place of just feeling like you're not enough, or like a place of being scared. Like if you've been scared, then you feel like you need to protect yourself. And that's what happens, is the healthy masculine shifts, and instead of protecting in the way that is healthy for us and balanced, it's going to go into overprotective mode. And it's going to be very controlling and like make sure that that never happens. If the feminine feels like it has been hurt, it stops trusting that healthy masculine, and it's going to start to try to protect itself. Instead of relying on your own masculine energy to protect you, you're going to be controlling, like manipulative and secretive and really emotional. I hope that makes sense. Another way to look at it, I'm a visual person. And so when I was thinking about this concept, the vision or the thought that came to my mind was a garden. So you can think of your feminine and masculine energy as a garden within yourself. Again, we are focusing on what does it look like in me right now in this moment. I'm not looking at my future partner. I'm not looking at my past partners. I'm not looking at my friends. I'm not looking at what it shows up on the outside world. I'm looking at inside of me. So you think of a garden, and a healthy garden is going to have a fence around it. Now, the purpose of this fence is not to keep anything and everything out of the garden, because there are some things that need to come in. Some things need to be able to come in for there to be flow and for there to be movement within the garden. But the purpose of the fence is to keep everything out that might be hurtful to the garden, that might cause damage, or that might not have the garden's best interest at heart. And then within that fenced area is going to be the garden. They're going to be these tender plants that are relying on the fence to keep them safe. They don't need to worry about protecting themselves because they trust that this fence is going to protect them and their vulnerability. So what happens if the fence, instead of doing its job and protecting this garden, what if the fence decides that it doesn't want to do that anymore? What if it leaves the gate open, or what if something happens and there's holes in the fence? Well, what happens is things can get in that might damage these plants. Now, when, say, animals or people or whatever come in and these plants start to be damaged, instead of them staying in their sweet, vulnerable state of plants, say a flower, what it does is says, oh, I can't trust the fence to keep me safe, so therefore I must evolve, I must change to keep myself safe. This is going to look like growing thorns, becoming poisonous, maybe like becoming a vine and like wrapping yourself so tightly into something so you can't be removed or taken out of the garden. So again, you can kind of see how this could relate to the masculine and feminine, right? If our masculine within ourselves, if we are not disciplined, if we are not protective of our own needs, of our own sweet, tender, feminine energy, if we are not confident in ourselves, if we're not resilient, if we are not creating the boundaries that we need to protect ourselves, then the feminine energy is going to get hurt. And when that feminine energy gets hurt, she is going to learn that I can't trust myself to set up boundaries to protect myself. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to become passive aggressive, or I'm going to become manipulative, or I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep myself safe. Now, often, obviously, we don't intentionally become manipulative, but if you look at your actions and you look at it and you think, that's interesting, I tend to be manipulative because I don't feel safe straight up asking for what I want. The problem is not that you don't know how, or the problem isn't that you can't, or that your feminine energy is broken in any way. It's that it has been wounded to believe that it has to find like a back door to be able to get what it wants instead of just straight up asking. And that's because your masculine energy did not create the structure where it would be safe for you to ask for what you needed or wanted. So if you're looking at some of your tendencies, some of your triggers, or some of the things that maybe you're recognizing, you're like, I don't like that I show up this way, or I want to change how I operate in this way. The way that you get rid of your wounded feminine and masculine energies is you need to replace them with healthy feminine and masculine. And it's going to start, I don't know if it needs to start with the masculine or the feminine, or maybe you just need to pick a couple from both of them. But you need to look at it. You just need to think, how's my discipline? When I tell myself that I'm going to get up at this certain time, or that I'm going to go to bed at this certain time, do I follow through? Am I a disciplined person that when I say something, it's going to happen? If that's not the case, if you cannot rely on yourself to do what you already told yourself you're going to do, then that's one of the first things you need to change. You need to start creating healthy masculine energy within yourself so that your feminine energy can trust that your masculine energy will keep you safe. So let's look at the example of going to sleep on time. So if your masculine energy is going to start being responsible, and it's going to start doing what it says it's going to do. Say, we're going to go to bed at 10 and we're going to get up at 6 or whatever it is. That's my schedule. That doesn't need to be everybody's. Then what happens when you actually do that, when you actually say, okay, it's 10 o'clock, I want to keep reading my book or I want to keep reading my show, but I told myself that I would go to bed at 10. When you do that, when you turn off the phone, when you turn everything off and you go to bed at 10, and then when your alarm rings at 6 and instead of hitting snooze, you actually get out of bed, and when you do this consistently, what you do is you are showing your feminine energy, hey, I've got you. I'm letting our psyche sleep. I'm letting our emotions rest for as long as I feel like they need to, so that you can operate at your best. You can be more creative. You can be more empathetic to those around you. You can be more compassionate and more receptive. Because I don't know if you guys are the same way, I would imagine, but if you're operating on not getting enough sleep, or if you're operating on frustration with yourself for not doing what you said you were going to do, then it bleeds into other areas of your life. Like, you're not able to be as patient with other people. You're not able to trust other people as much because you can't trust yourself. And so it's so important to start strengthening those healthy masculine qualities, and then start looking at those healthy feminine qualities, and start seeing how, when the masculine is strengthened, how does that affect the feminine qualities? This has helped me so much. It has been really a fun project for me to take on for myself, to look at it and be like, okay, I can recognize easily. I can look at these different lists. And again, if you Google healthy feminine, healthy masculine, it's going to come up with a lot of different things, but you will start to notice they're all kind of pretty similar. The masculine is outward, the feminine is more inward. But you can look at them and you can say, oh my gosh, I see that I operate in wounded masculine of stubbornness and rigidity around our schedule. And when I do that, when I'm so focused on, forcing my kids to adhere to the schedule, or sticking with the schedule with no way of movement, what that does is it also affects my feminine energy. I feel like it's not safe to be creative. I feel like it's not safe to kind of go with the flow of following the intuition of, well, I feel like maybe we should do this instead of, following the schedule so rigidly. Like, wounded masculine is going to directly affect your feminine, and it's going to push you into wounded feminine, and vice versa. So if you're super rigid in your schedule, in your masculine, and you're not bending and you're unmoving, what that's going to do is that's going to put you into wounded feminine. It's going to put you into more like of a passive aggressive, or it's going to cause you to be more people pleasing, whatever it is. So it was really fun. I was able to look and be like, okay, I know that in my healthy masculine, I can see when I've operated in healthy masculine and healthy feminine. And the way that you know that you're operating in healthy masculine and healthy feminine is it feels good. Like, you feel like you're in control of yourself, but not in like control. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about the things that you're doing. You have more confidence. You have more creativity. Like, you just feel so much better. And you definitely know when you have slipped over into wounded feminine, wounded masculine. It feels like a struggle. It feels like nothing you do is right. You can't get ahead. You're struggling. So this was really helpful for me because I like the visuals. I like to be able to see what it is that I'm doing and what do I want to replace it with. So try that this week. I would encourage you to look at the way that you're showing up. Look at the way that you're feeling. Say you're having an argument with someone. Stop and think for a minute. Is this me holding my boundary in healthy masculine? Like, do I need to make sure that this works out this way because that is what is going to keep me safe? Or am I having an argument because I refuse to bend, because I refuse to see the other person's side. If that's the case, what is it? What is the hurt part of me? And what is the side that is trying to protect me? And if the hurt part of you is being protected by a side that is taking it overboard, then you are not going to come to the agreement. You're not going to come to the decision. You're not going to feel the way that you want to feel. This was really fun. I hope that this has been enjoyable for you. I will do more on this topic. I will be explaining this more and talking more about it and giving more examples, because the more examples you have, the more able you are to see it and to recognize it and to use it. I will talk to you later.